Monday, Wednesday, Friday is the goal for all these classroom sessions. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is the goal to post up last week's session. So if you have any questions, please ask. Let's go ahead and take a look at this video right here. So remember, we're going to be focusing on speeding, positioning, ego, brown stage, or white stage, okay? Oh. So this is going to be a traction loss on that white paint with too much revving, so too much power to that rear wheel. But let's go ahead and focus on a few things. So when we're exiting out of here, make sure we have good, smooth throttle control going into it. So we're going to go up to about right here. So we're looking. So good positioning, good vision. So that's amazing. I think that is what you have to do. You do have that vehicle right, there. So maybe that's what he was concerned about when he was exiting the area. If you ever get in this position, you're like, I have to accelerate quick. Just go ahead and wait. Just wait a little bit. So what's going to happen here is as soon as that rear tire hit that paint, so we went a little too fast, a little too hard. That rear tire is spinning. It's trying to grab traction. You're still going, but now we're also turning. And as soon as we hit that paint, whoop, lost traction. So a little too much throttle. So too much speed was going into there. I don't believe he was in white stage. It wasn't a brown stage thing. His ego wasn't causing any of these issues. It was just a little bit too much speed. All right. So positioning, there it is. Situational awareness. I think he knew it was there. Just didn't do much about it. Oh, watch out for that pipe on that leg. So positioning is actually pretty dang good right here. We got good line of sight. So remember, you always want to plan your ride. So position yourself for safety, locate hazards, adapt to those hazards, navigate the threats. So I'd be in orange stage, so you're prepped and ready for anything. It looks like his hands are, so we're doing good. So I don't know if he sees it, but he kind of does. I mean, he has his horn. He's getting ready. He's announcing where he's going. So maybe ego could be playing into it. It's like, I got to get here. You know, this is my spot. You need to stay. You need to stop. So when we get to here, this is when we need to start doing a red stage maneuver. So a brown stage would typically be a panic. So a panic brake, lost nothing. So you literally just keep going. You don't do any type of evasive maneuver. He tries to squeeze the brakes right there. He has his clutch in. So now we have a total stopping distance. We don't have enough. So if you're ever in this position, you're like, oh man, I don't have enough. You have to change what you're trying to do. Okay. So if you change this red stage maneuver of braking because you don't have enough total stopping distance, what else could you do? You can go ahead and swerve. You can get yourself out of here, release those brakes, and hopefully get around and through that. But overall, it's a bad situation. You need to look for side of the vehicle and make sure that it is not going to be in your path. But if that's the case, you need to be able to swerve or brake in time. And if you can't wear gear, that could easily be a fractured tib, fib, femur, patella. Whew. All right, lane splitting brings its own risks like this. A merging issue, hit two vehicles over the ground. Ay. So hand, shoulder, hip, back, head, knees. Double check your body. Lane filtering brings its own risks, so it's all about risk management.
What the f are you doing?
Okay, so we're lane filtering. So now we need to talk about speeding and positioning on this. So when you lane filter, there are some pros and cons. Okay, there's also pros and cons for being in your lane. Okay, pro and con for lane filtering. So a pro would be that you go ahead and get in front of the queue, you get in front of everybody else. It also reduces congestion for everybody. A con is that you're going to have a possibility of a lane merger and you're going to hit them and you don't have a lot of escape paths. So there's that risk management. Okay, so now that we know that, maybe we should reduce speed, slow it down a little bit. So when we're going to go fast, we only have a couple options. We need to stop, and that's it. Okay, so if there's a lane merger, you can't swerve left or right because you have cars, and you can't accelerate to get out of something because that person's merging in front of you, so you have to stop. So in order for you to stop in time, you need to reduce your speed, especially if you're going to be lane filtering. So right here, we're going kind of fast for the traffic. Remember, you'd only want to go maybe 10 miles an hour over traffic. This looks like it's closer to 15 to 20. And that 5 to 10 more over doesn't sound like much, but when it comes to total stopping distance, it's a lot. So you need to slow it down a little bit more. Positioning, you can't do much. If your major concern is to be safe, right now we're safe. We're in a good spot. We're not going to get hit by anybody. But if your major concern is to get from point A to point B as fast as possible through lane filtering, then this is where a problem can be. So ego, when you're lane filtering, just because you're on a motorcycle, don't worry too much about, hey, I got to get to the front. I got to get to the front. You should be worried about your safety. Speeding can also be a direct result of your ego telling you to get from point A to point B. So keep that in check. Your positioning, just realize, you can get out of lane filter. You don't have to lane filter all the way to the front. You can stop right here and you should be safe. Here, if we can't stop in time or we can't escape into an escape path, we're in a bad spot. This is a very common thing when it comes to lane filtering, so pay attention to this. So now you notice how he hit both hands, he hit his legs, he hit his whole body. So if you do get in a crash, wear full gear. That's what I'd be doing in that situation. You guys need to be paying attention to hey, pay attention up front. All right? Make sure you guys sign in to get credit for today's class. We're going to be going over some more of these crashes real soon.
Use your fucking mirror.
All right, so now we're out on the track. This is the area you want to practice in. I don't think there was a problem with brown stage or white stage. They're very zoned in. We've already seen this. He gets checked up on by the track official. I don't think it was ego. They were out on the track trying to get better. Speeding maybe, positioning maybe, but that's the whole point of this. You make mistakes out on the track. You'll learn from it, do better and better and better, versus out on the street where now you have legal consequences, civil consequences. You're probably injured, dead, hurt somebody else. This is where you want to do it right here. All right, so we're out at night, low visibility for something at night. See the brake lights? Ooh, illegal U-turn. Oh. Okay, so we're going to talk real quick about vehicles. Oh, it's a roundabout. Uh-oh. We're going to talk about positioning. Maybe a little ego on this one. So we're coming up to the roundabout. It looks like they were going to turn right. But here's the thing. We're going to be speeding into a dangerous zone. We're going to speeding right next to the vehicle because we want to go from point A to point B as fast as possible, not as safe as possible. Whenever you see a vehicle and they have brake lights, that means they're making a decision to go left, go right, or just stop. And they don't know what to do. They're obviously not going forward. So whenever you see brake lights, that should put you into orange stage where you're concerned about, oh, okay, something different's happening here. So I'm going to go ahead and sit back and relax. So right here, when you see this, you want to stay as distant and disconnected from the situation and just wait. It's like, whoa, brake lights. Okay, I'm going to wait a little bit instead of gunning it and trying to get in front because they're still making a decision. Just wait. And if they sit there and stop in the middle of the street, there might be a good reason. There could be something in front of them and they can't go anywhere, or they're just being dum-dums on their phone. Either way, you don't know until you go around them, but you need to kind of wait a little bit. Give it a couple seconds if you have to and look, okay, what are you doing? Okay, well, I'm going to go. And that's how you should treat it. So ego could easily play into that. He tried to do some form of red stage swerve. It was just way too late, way too close. You should be able to be back here where this person is. But speeding, positioning, ego, brown stage, white stage, I absolutely believe it was ego and maybe a little bit of speeding. Whose fault was it? It was definitely the car's fault. It was the car's fault. All right. So we're going through the mountains. Okay, careful, careful. Chevrons indicate. What do you think that was? Do you think it was speeding, positioning, ego, brown stage, or was he in white stage during this whole thing? All right, so we're going to be riding right here. We're going 75, okay? 75 miles an hour. I'm going to assume it's 75 miles an hour. And we're going to go into the corner. So why are we going so fast? Because we're having a great time and we're letting our endorphins, we're letting all the feel-good hormones take over our decision-making. So I have a feeling a little bit of ego, okay, just like having a little bit of road rage, your anger takes over your actions. That can start putting you down a wrong path. Same thing with this, where you're having such a great time, you don't think about what's coming up next. So that's going to play into your speeding, your positioning, whether you're paying attention, and whether you're going to make a good action when it comes to a brown stage or red stage maneuver, okay? So ego is a huge thing. It plays into a lot of the other factors. It's 80. So we just saw that was a sharp turn ahead. Too fast for the curve is what 99 Live said. We have those chevrons. Those are good indicators. So too fast, a little bit too fast for this corner. So speeding is definitely going to be the cause of one of these things, a common factor. Same thing with positioning. Positioning it seems to be okay. So I'll give them that. I like doing middle. Ego played into it. White stage, wasn't paying attention to how sharp the curve was. We have all these signage. And then brown stage last second, we're applying too much brake and we start to swivel and wobble a little bit. You'll see it right there. There's the swivel and wobble. That's that rear tire lockup. So not good progressive brake pressure. Now we're going towards the edge. Now we're not in a good position. So it all kind of stemmed from ego. So how do we prevent this ourselves, we need to go ahead and keep our ego in check, focus on the ride itself. Don't focus on going too fast to the ride. Slow it down a little bit. It's always easier to add speed than to take it away in the middle of a turn. Thankfully, he was able to slow down enough to where he didn't go off the cliff. So that's what I'd be focused on, is your ego, your speeding, and then your positioning will come into play, but your speed is a huge factor. And make sure you're zoned in, guys. What do you think is happening here? Ego?
Oh,
High mechanism of injury. High mechanism of injury. That was not his bike either. Oh, baby. High mechanism of injury hitting that curb. Easily shatter things. Easily shatter things. So let's go back just a little bit. So right here, what do you think's the problem? One of the things that really sets ego up for you for failure is, I can't even speak this morning. Anybody put something in my coffee? The thing with ego, it's usually like a peer pressure or a group ride setting or a road rage. Ego, I like to think of as your emotion taking over your logical side of your brain. So when you have a big group ride like this is quite easily an ego thing. Okay, we're showing off. Okay, we typically can do good risk management when we are in a situation by ourselves. We're like, I don't know if I should jump off that cliff into that water. That water doesn't look like it's deep enough for this height. I'm not going to do it. That's risk management. Same thing here. I don't know if I have enough room for my wheelie, but I'm going to do it because this is where everybody's parked and I want to look cool. So that right there, it's going to override your logical thinking. So a little bit too fast. He was also doing the wheelie, and it all started from an ego thing. So speeding definitely was a problem. Where you're going to do it, the positioning of it all is the problem. Ego, group ride setting, keep that in check, guys. You know, surround yourself with some people that aren't like this, or not, that are not like this, as in that will promote good safety. You can be around people like this all day if you want. It's up to you.
All right.
All right. So they're on comm system. Oh.
I didn't know you were turning.
I said it like 5 times, bro.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So, not riding your own ride, maybe white staged. What do you think, guys?
I didn't know you were turning.
I said it like 5 times, bro.
Yeah, sometimes the mics don't pick it up. I have to speak, you know, I have to project my voice when it comes to some of the mics, but if you need a Bluetooth system, grab yourself a Cardo Pack Talk or a Cardo Freecom. They're a sponsor of this channel. Use the link in the description. You get a discount automatically applied. So this is a group ride, so we can talk about ego on group rides, but it doesn't seem like ego is a big problem here. Speeding definitely wasn't really a problem when we were coming up to a stoplight. Positioning might have been a problem. I truly believe this is a white stage thing. Okay, so the guy in the back didn't pay attention enough. He said, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but maybe not. He said that the mic didn't pick up the audio for it, but I think it did. I think he was just not paying attention.
All right.
Let's go right. Remember, you want to project your voice. You want the mic to actually pick it up. It does have a noise gate on the mic, so it doesn't pick up all that wind. So you have to speak a little bit louder than the wind noise going on in your mic. So there's the impact. Thankfully, it was at a low speed, but at a high speed, imagine that type of impact. So I have a feeling the rider out in the back right here was white stage. Maybe heard it, but then didn't act on it. So inattentional blindness could have been part of that. He's focused on this. The brain shut off the ears for a quick second. Who knows? Can't really tell. What do you think is going to be this one? Speed? I think speed. Oh. Oh. Somebody else crashed? That can easily lacerate you. Looks like his knee got hit on the rail, and somebody else crashed. Oh my gosh. Okay, this one's gonna be interesting. What do you guys think is gonna be this one? Okay, so remember we have speeding, positioning, ego, brown stage. So brown stage action time but panicked, and we also have white stage completely unaware, unprepared, zoned out. Okay, so what do you guys think is gonna be this one? Why did we go so wide? You know, this is a 2-lane road. We went from the inside of the first lane to the outside of the second lane and then hits the guardrail. If you know how to turn, you shouldn't have this problem. But if you know how to turn, it's because you're probably doing slow look press and roll. So slow it down. He's not slow look pressing and rolling. He's speeding up looking, pressing, and then rolling on more. If we go too fast for our skill, we start going wide, 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 wide. We need more room, and we don't. Okay, so you need to go ahead and slow down before the turn, and then you can always add more speed later. No rush to get to the corner. There's a rush to get out of the corner. Maybe ego because it is a group ride. Somebody else crashed, so we're just trying to show off. Maybe get in front of the pack. Maybe we were past everybody before the corner. I don't know, but definitely speed is a big problem. Maybe ego's a problem. What's up, Jesse? How you doing? So right there, that's a piece of metal. Very dangerous to hit. That lip right there, very sharp. So if your arm goes over it, it can easily lacerate your brachial artery. And then those pieces of wood, those things are like 80 pounds each. Those things are hard to break and heavy. So they're not moving. They're not moving. In December, we're doing it every single month. We are giving away $800 worth of RevZilla gift cards. We're actually going to do more and more and more in 2021. So take a look at his right leg. So that's the area that impacted to the guardrail, completely ripped up his jeans. Now, it's not, hey, we're going to rip up the jeans. It's, hey, we're going to do blunt force trauma to those jeans and your knee, and it just so happens to rip. So imagine your knee. Imagine your flesh. So this is why you need to wear gear. We are giving it away, $800 worth of RevZilla gift cards. Check it out. Links in the description. Yeah, just slow down. All right, ego, high risk, high skill. But let's minimize the amount of risk we have by wearing full gear. Smart Rider principle, guys. Acquire and utilize personal protective equipment. So minimize the risk associated by wearing full gear and doing it in an area that is safer to do so. So no traffic. Looks like there's no traffic, so did good. This is a lot of traffic. Oh, passing on a blind turn. Now we low-sided because we're hauling butt. What do you think? Ego? Speeding? Positioning? I don't think we were doing what we were supposed to be doing. Some knee scratches. Thankfully. All right, what do you think is going to happen here? We're going 63. We were going 63. Looks like somebody went wide in a turn. What do you think happened, guys? Class, what do you think happened? Do you think ego might have drove the speeding? Do you think white stage wasn't paying attention? Do you think brown stage that they were paying attention, something bad happened, they panicked?
Are you okay?
What do you think happened? So just take a look at this. Where did the crashes typically happen? Like towards the very last 3/4 of the turn, right? So when we see this right here, maybe this was outside of his skill base, but it wasn't outside of his skill base, and it wasn't outside of the camera guy's skill base and everybody else's skill base. It was just outside of his skill base. And that's a big problem when it comes to riding in groups, that a lot of beginner riders want to ride in a group because they want that camaraderie, they want that community. But now we're in the wrong group, or the group doesn't understand or know that this is a beginner rider. Who knows? Maybe he said, hey, I'm good. I've been riding for a while. Let's go. Let's have some fun. And then something like this happens. He's like, well, I've only done, this is my first group ride. So you start to have issues like that. So ego could easily be a problem with that. Speeding. Okay, maybe too much for him. Maybe positioning, it wasn't right for him. Brown stage, white stage, I don't know. But I want to take this as an example of a possible ego group ride, peer pressure. Be honest with yourself. Be humble. Know what you can do. And don't go outside of your skill base, outside of your scope of practice, okay? That's exactly it, Mustafa. Not aware of their own limits. How do you guys become aware of your own limits? You go to a parking lot. You go and take this road easy by yourself or with somebody else that understands that you are a beginner, so we're going to modulate our speed, mitigate it for you. So having a good mentor would be good. Yeah. Great job, class. Thank you for all the help. Remember, we're going over the white, yellow, orange, red, brown stage stuff.
Are you okay?
Pay attention, guys. All right. So we're riding through traffic. We see a lot of people backed up.
Oh, yeah.
Good braking on the rider in the back. So this is where you rescue another rider with medical training. Seems like they're doing okay. Okay, just take a look at right here. So we have multiple people kind of backed up. We have one person on the ground. Maybe it was a passenger of the guy that is standing right here. I don't know yet. But I have a feeling that this vehicle right there kind of caused it when he wanted to turn into this area. How did we crash into them? Okay, a lot of motorcyclists think it's cars that strike them that is the cause of a lot of accidents. It's actually motorcyclists striking the car or striking a fixed object that is causing a lot of the crashes. Not causing, but is what's happening in the crashes. What's causing a lot of it is a left turner turning in front of us, we strike. Right here, not paying attention, we strike the backside of the vehicle. So that's really what a lot of it is. And then the cornering the fixed object, we strike the guardrail. So I have a feeling these people are white zoned. They're not paying attention. They're not paying attention. In order to stay out of white stage, what should we be doing? Okay, I know. Hey, you. Yep. Yellow stage. Relaxed, prepared, aware, though. Okay, so you're zoned in. Good situational awareness. You ever feel that flow state that you have when you're riding, and all of a sudden everything just works out great, and you're like, man, I see everything. Like when you're playing video games, you're in the zone, like you're that flow state. That's what I want you to stay in. When you get out of it, and you're like, hey, what did I eat earlier? What did I eat yesterday? Well, what did that text message? That's when you start to zone out. That is way too close. If somebody applies the brakes, somebody's gonna hit them. That's just way too close. There's not enough room for error. You have to anticipate that there's going to be some error involved. And with that, you should space it. Okay, so this is the exact reason why we need that space. Because if one person crashes, the second person might not, but the third person might crash into that person, and it'll just cascade into craziness. Oh, what do you think's gonna happen here? Speeding? Oh. Oh, no. We're going 140. I'm going to say kilometers an hour. Somebody in the chat write how fast that is in miles per hour for us Americans. And the rider up front didn't find the escape path. Okay, speed is definitely going to be a problem. Positioning is the problem too. Ego is a problem. I believe they are zoned into yellow stage. I truly believe it. It's just that they're riding outside their skill level. This rider right here found the escape path as best as he possibly could. This rider, that blur, actually goes over the median. He hits this vehicle, goes over the median. His bike stays balanced because of gyroscopic forces. And that's a very severe mechanism of injury. So 80 to 90 miles per hour, you believe, Dinah. Thank you. Look at how this motorcycle rider finds the escape path. Found the escape path and moved. Can you do this? Let's not say you're going 140. Let's say you're going 80 interstate speeds and somebody slams the brakes. Could you have done that? So just take a look. I want to take what's good. Look how much little room he needs. Let's go ahead and do this again. Look how much room he needs. Just this little median area. This little gore area. That's it. So if you absolutely had to, you can find an escape path between a vehicle and the guardrail. So don't assume that you have to slam the brakes every single time somebody does this and you have to stop in time. If you can't stop in time based off your speed and based off your skill level, at least try to find this. Now, don't put yourself in that situation in the first place. 140, don't put yourself in that situation. That's probably 140 miles per hour. I have a feeling that is. Don't put yourself in the situation in the first place. Nighttime riding, how come street racing. So ego and speeding, do you think that's going to be a problem? That dude on scooters racing? Oh, he's at the finish line, I think. Oh, no. What do you think? Speeding, ego? Now, we went over quite a bit of these crashes and close calls, and we start to see a lot of it is the speeding, positioning, but a ton of it is ego. So if you're a brand new rider and we just saw all these and you just want to watch this class one time, here's the thing I want you to take away from this class. Check your ego. If you feel like, hey, I could do that, really look at it and be like, have I practiced that? If it's a no, that means you can't do it. This is not an area where we have let's load the last checkpoint. Let's load the last save game. Hey, let's restart the game on easy because I can't handle it. No, you have one chance. If you crash, you can get severely injured or die or have a life-altering injury. Let's not do that. We do have some homework. We do have a beginner exercise that we're going to be going over. We also have an intermediate exercise. Also, if you guys want to, send in your own motorcycle training and close calls. There is a submission form that you can use. I did add a spot on it for the parking lot exercises or a close call. All right, let's go to the lounge real quick. Remember, grab yourself a burrito. Don't eat too much. We're gonna go work out after this. Okay, we're gonna go to my office first, have a nice Q&A, but then we're gonna work out, do some push-ups, do some squats. You know, if you want to, go ahead and start doing some now. Whew. There's some of that parking lot practice we're talking about. So if you want to send in some of those, please do so. I'll be putting those in the intro. Yeah, somebody was chewing on this thing. Come on now. So this is where I want you to take your notes. Okay, if you're a beginner rider, I want you to go out and practice this today or this weekend.
All right, now that we have everything set up, I want to show you real quick what we're working with. We're going to utilize one parking space out of the 3 that we're going to be using for the figure 8s and U-turns and whatnot. So right here, if you don't have the actual lines, what I'm having here also is the cones. So I'm going to have 2 cones dictating this is where I'm going to park the bike, and I'm going to have 3 cones dictating where the end is, where my goal is to
It's a tight turn from a stop.
stay inside here. So if you want to know, it's just about, for me, 1, 2, 3. I would say about 3 steps for you also if you want to just measure it that way. And what we're going to do is try to make it through here and go that way. This is my tripod right here, and this is where you would put your action camera or your phone.
If you have any questions, we will be going over those.
So let's go ahead and jump into this one. You don't need the drone up there. That's just to show you guys a little bit extra. So tight turn from the stop is literally tight turn from the stop. So you need to start the handlebars already turned. So when you do that, you're going to feel the weight go to this foot or this side, wherever the handlebars are turned. So what you need to do is counterweight and utilize your upper body to do that. So turn the handlebars, counterweight. And you know
That's a good tip right there.
I want you guys to use that as a clue or a cue. That's where your head should go. And put it into first gear. So then we're going to utilize friction zone and throttle control. So once again, we're going to go ahead and look.
If you don't know how to do throttle control, there's more videos on that.
Friction zone and give it a little bit of throttle. So let's go ahead and do the first one.
Class, be quiet.
Now it's okay to put your foot down. It's okay to struggle a little bit, and it's okay to the handlebars to move. Remember, we're not looking for perfection.
So right there, that is the tight turn from a stop. So if we look at this part right here, skills in use, head turn vision, full lock handlebar turn, counterweight balance, friction, throttle control. When it comes to starting, obviously from a stop, but that one rider that crashed leaving the parking lot, that right there. So he did his head turn and vision. You need to turn those handlebars. You don't have to do a full lock if you don't want to, but at least get something going. And then also the counterweight. That is the biggest thing. Counterweight. Make sure you get that weight on the outside and do good, proper, smooth throttle control friction zone. If you don't know how to do friction zone, I do have that video on motorcycle training concepts, but I want you to practice your tight turns from the stop. That's really going to help you with your head turns and then also the handlebars, counterweighting, and throttle control. It's a lot harder to do that than to just go straight with throttle and friction zone. So practice that this weekend. We got another video that we're going to be talking about. Okay, we got another one right here. It's for those intermediate riders. If you need to know which videos these are, we will have them in the description. I want you guys to practice this one too, okay?
All right, so like I said, this is for those of you that like to have instinctual riding, or if you've gotten to the point where you're feeling super comfortable with your tight turns, U-turns, figure 8s, and you're just bored.
Intermediate stuff.
You want to do something different. If you notice, it's all situated like this within just 3 cones, and this is perfect for learning your tight turns, your U-turns, your figure 8s, your S-turns, your head movements, friction zone, body weight. See, these are all things that I already know, and you probably know, but you just want to get to it. So here's the thing. We're going to go through the right cones, left cones, circle, these cones, end up back here. Pretty simple. I'm going to show it to you nice and easy, nice and slow.
This is a fun exercise to do.
Go ahead and get used to the actual function of all of these things. Now right here, nice, huge, or short.
That practice your U-turn.
Look for the next ones.
Head movement.
Look for the end.
Head movement and handlebar movement right there.
Now it's just friction zone. I was in first gear. I was just letting the bike do its thing. If you are brand new, just do it nice and easy. Have fun with it. Don't think about time. But if you're getting a little bored, you're like, this is too easy, go ahead and time yourself. If you time yourself, let me know in the comments. All right, so we're going to pick it up a little bit so I can go between cones. I'm really going to dance. I'm looking where I need to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and slow it down on this turn so I can make it nice and short so I'm not going wide. Pick up speed, pick up speed, pick up speed.
Here's the thing is you could do this on a bicycle. So if you don't have a motorcycle yet, take your bicycle and set up your cones this way. So if you notice, we have this kind of section here, this gate right here, this gate right here, this gate right here, and right here. take a look at where they're situated on the parking lot. Okay, so these right here, this parking lot space is roughly 8 to 8.5 feet. So 8 to 8.5 feet. So if you take a look at this, these cones are about 8 to 8.5 feet, and then you have this cone in the center. So what you want to do is set up the cones like this. So you see the arrows. This is all on DDFMcrew.com, but I will be posting more on motorcycle training concepts. Is that you go left, you go right, you go circle, then you go, and you just keep doing it. So if you have a buddy, they can actually be not hiding, they can actually be waiting right there. So when you go in, they're watching you, and then when they exit, you go next. This right here is great because on this part, that is basically a tight turn. But then right here, you have to change the direction and go in here. If you notice something, this almost looks like a U-turn. This almost looks like a U-turn. This almost looks like a U-turn with an extra. It's a 270, basically a 360. Another U-turn, and you have to get in. So you're practicing your U-turns, your tight turns. You're practicing all these different things, and it's fun to do so. Posted in the description, it says never drop your motorcycle again. Tight turn from a stop. So if you're a brand new beginner, please practice that one. If you want to do this one, have a little bit of fun, set it up with some friends, but just realize you're actually practicing. You're actually practicing. You know, if you don't have cones, what do you do? But Cope already talked about that. So what I like to do is I actually have tennis balls. I cut those tennis balls in half with a box cutter. Be very careful when you do that. So I cut those tennis balls in half, and they're very highly green, fluorescent looking, neon, and it's easy to see. If you run them over, it's not a big deal. But yeah, water bottles work great. Soda cans, they work great. Been riding 54 years, and I do these types of exercises all the time to keep my skills up. Bruce, yeah. Do you just begin in an empty parking lot, or is it best to try to get permission first? Cecil, that's up to you. I do have areas within my neighborhood that is like a dead end, and I'll just do U-turns. I'll just go in, do a couple U-turns, 5 to the right, 5 to the left, boom, done, got it, feel good. I usually find just areas that have like no traffic, neighborhoods that have no housing yet. That's a good area, especially in a dead end. But when it comes to parking lots, what you can do is find churches on the weekdays, and then schools on the weekends. Those are typically the better places to find. I would always ask for permission first if you could, but if you don't, then and they tell you to leave, then just leave. Would you use red cones for the turning point? It's up to you, Damon, as long as you know the route. So the route is pretty easy to follow if you've done it a few times. So the route's pretty easy to follow. So as long as you have this diagram, which is on ddfmcrew.com, but if you still need it, just check out the video. Okay, I have that video on motorcycle training concepts. It's how to set up a motorcycle training course. This right here. There's actually a second one that I have, and I actually really like this one too. This one's a really good one. So if you go to that video and you do this one, go ahead and practice this one too if you really wanted to. This one's a really fun one too. This is going to practice your straight line, slow straight line, and then you have to do a U-turn, U-turn, and then you have to do a straight line weave and a big U-turn, straight line weave. So it's actually really fun. Just got myself a situation a week ago watching your video, saved my bike, possibly my life. Cody, I'm glad, man. Woo! Okay. I was surprisingly able to successfully pass this. Harley Davidson. Ooh, good. I guess the word, you get run off. Can or should this be practiced with a passenger? Randy, it can. If you're going to be riding around with a passenger, go ahead and practice it with a passenger. Everything you do in the parking lot, you could do with a passenger if you want to increase your skill that way. Definitely. If someone shoos you away from parking lot, just say sorry, move to another spot. Exactly, Xavier. That's all. Found a parking lot and they're used for motorcycle range. Already had the lollipop painted. Good, Jim. Those are fun. The lollipops are fun. That's basically that straight line, and it's a circle, and it goes back into that straight line. When are you, hi Dan, when are you going to do practices for intermediate riders, trail braking and stuff? So trail braking, it's kind of hard to do in a parking lot and demonstrate it over the internet. So trail braking, the advanced, I believe those are advanced skills. So the advanced skill of trail braking, and then speed shifting and all those other things, I believe it's not needed for what I'm trying to teach. So I'm trying to teach beginner riders just to commute safely and how to be safe, and then be good citizens and be good community members. The speed shifting, trail braking, all those things, they can be used for that purpose, but it's something that I believe you should be taught in person with an instructor right there with their hands, hands-on training. I don't think that's something you should learn over the internet. unless you can really put everything together and you've mastered some of these basic beginner fundamental skills. But in order for me to say, hey, go do this, I know a lot of people on this channel, a lot of my viewers, a lot of the students here will say, okay, well, I've had a week of watching Dan the Fireman. I'm going to go ahead and practice trail braking. I'm going to practice speed shifting. And I don't think that they're there yet. It took me a while to really hammer down those fundamental skills and then take an advanced class to learn it and then to really understand it with instructor training right there. So when I'm in that position, I know a lot of my viewers are in that same position. A lot of the students here are in the same position. I think that they would need that class in person. So it would be very bad for me to say, you know what, just for the video, I want to make a video on trail braking. Here you go. That's me though. So right here at Jim Sweet, MC Writer's a video on trail braking practice in a lot. I say go to him and get your trail braking video for that. I just choose not to do it. So, and that's because of my skill level. So we talk about scope of practice and skill level. I believe where I'm at with my skill level and the production of this class and where we're at and the focus I don't have the focus of wanting to do trail braking, so I haven't done it. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. There are plenty of people that explain trail braking. Brett T-Tax here. You know what? Trail braking, he explained it the best way. I'm okay with saying I don't know something, and when I know of somebody that can do it, this guy knows his stuff, and the way he describes it.
We all start off, everybody a big smile, big thumbs up, and how many of you ever used your brakes in the corner and are here to talk about it today?
Great stuff.
Absolutely.
Great
every one of
stuff.
us. Turns out that we brake into corners naturally. I'm going to define what trail braking is. If you go into the corner,
I'm not going to watch the whole video with you guys. I want you guys to actually go here and watch his stuff.
and then you go for the brakes because you miscalculated the corner, that is called oh shit braking. That is not trail braking. If you're dragging your rear brake into a corner, that is also not necessarily trail braking. Trail braking is a planned, deliberate deceleration past the turn point.
You can't just go into a corner and say, hey, I went too fast. Let me apply some brakes and call that trail braking. That's not trail braking. So when I say I don't feel comfortable to tell a beginner rider when, how, where without the hands-on training, it's because they will assume this is trail braking of applying the brakes mid-corner and wonder why they dumped the bike. I don't feel comfortable enough to showcase that on the internet. He's in front of a class, just so happens to record it and put it on his channel.
Front brake, both brakes.
Yeah, I'll send the link to you guys right now.
Can be rolling off the throttle. Trail braking is deliberately decelerating or still scrubbing speed as we tip into the corner. Now we have to have a turn point to make that happen. A turn point requires an exit.
All right, so that's basics of corners. Right here, I just wanted to showcase this. I want you guys to watch this video. I'm not going to watch the whole thing because he explains it way better than I can. So the turn in, on throttle, delayed apex, there's the road apex, imagined delayed apex. That's that blind corner. We talk about blind corners all the time.
Talking about apex, entry, and exit came from the racing world.
Came from the racing world. Are we here to race? I don't like this. That's why I say I don't like inside or outside, inside, outside. I don't like that. It came from the racing world. A lot of good things have come from the racing world. Airbag vests, really powerful machines, fun machines to play on. But is the commuting world talking about road apexes? No, they're not. The commuting world is talking about getting from point A to point B as safe as possible.
You're on a dedicated environment. Everybody knows what's on the other side. If something goes wrong on the other side, there's somebody there waving a flag to tell you there's something to watch out for. On the street, we don't get that.
So he goes over how trail braking is very good for the street because of that reason. Because we don't know. So already having that trail braking, already having the braking in, it's going to put that weight on that front tire, give it traction so you can stop if you have to. He's an amazing coach. Honestly, if I could take a class from him, I would. Like, I wish he was around here. Yeah, that's Kilray. That's another thing is a lot of people in the beginner classes hear about trailing that rear tire, that rear brake. So you're applying a little bit of that. You're trailing it. So to say go trail braking, a lot of people use that rear brake, so they learn all these different things, and I think it's a big issue. I think it's a big issue. So I don't feel like I'm comfortable enough to teach that. How can you test your skills and know how good you are without advanced rider? So Jesse, if you can master and feel confident, when I say master, it's like, well, what does master mean? So this is where I go through the process, and this is what I love. We're at the end of class, we're discussing some things. So how do you know when you can go up to more advanced skills and practice more advanced skills? It really comes down to automaticity. So what that is you developing habits to where your body does what you intended to do without thinking. Okay, so walking. Everyone here started off crawling. Everyone here started off trying to walk stable, but sucking at it and falling down. And now we're all walking where we don't even have to think about what's the first step, second step, third step, fourth step. So now we have mastered that skill and now we can try running. Okay, running was very difficult at first, and then we start running, we can really get the hang of it. Boom, we got it. So now we can practice long jump, all these. So you start going down these other processes. So when it comes to riding a motorcycle, what you want to do is go to a parking lot and you'll notice you're looking at your hands. You're looking like right in front of the wheel. You're looking like, what do I do? Okay, clutch, okay, shift, okay, brake. You're doing this with your hands and your feet. You want to get to the point where you're just looking forward and doing everything. I'm not, obviously you don't do this, it's not a keyboard, but you're doing everything without looking at it. That is automaticity. You develop the habit to where you don't have to focus on that. And the big problem a lot of people have is that they develop these habits that are bad. So this is why you want to make sure you take a class or watch this class. Go to Motorcycle Training Concepts and go through the whole how to ride a sport bike. I have a whole series on that. And that way you can develop and start those habits that are good and then get to a point where it's automatic. So when you get to automatic and you're doing U-turns without having to look down, look at this, and you're always constantly remembering to turn that head, you're always doing this, and you're getting better and better and better and better and better, then I believe you can get into more of the advanced skills. So it's like, man, the parking lot's pretty easy. I'm always doing my head turns. I know when I turn, I do my head, and I always do this. I make sure I have good friction throttle control. It's like, okay, now what do I do? So then take an advanced class. I mean, there's some advanced riding clinics out there. And then now you're going to do a whole new thing that you're going to be looking at your hands. You're going to be like, man, what do I do? What do I do? It's because you're learning a new skill. So if you're ever in a position where you are looking at your hands and seeing what they're doing, that is a new skill that hasn't been developed into a habit. And if you're doing that with a U-turn, you're not ready for an intermediate or advanced skills. So get those fundamental skills of U-turns, figure eights, the bootlace exercise that we have for homework. If you can do that automatically, then I think you're ready for that second intermediate or advanced skill. So that I believe is how. I don't want to say, yeah, you've done 10, U-turns, 20 figure eights, you're good. Go ahead and do an advanced skill like trail braking. I don't want to get to that point. I want you to get to the point where you have automaticity, muscle memory cope, exactly. You get to that point to where you're not looking at your hands, and now you have all the room in the world to think while doing automatic stuff. You're probably already doing it in your car. You're sitting back relaxed and you're just kind of driving. You push these buttons without looking, turn knobs without looking. You see what I mean? Do that when you're on a motorcycle. Bruce, learning to counter steer could save your life. If you find yourself in a corner a tad too fast, more counter steer will force the bike to fall further and tighten up the turn. Yeah, it can save your life. Yeah, it definitely can. You're counter steering already, guys. When you're out riding, you're already counter steering without even noticing it. Okay, we're just putting a name to it. If you think if I could just put more and more because I went too fast, it's going to save you, it can and it can't. So you're going to have a chance of now a low side because you put too much turning for that traction. So that's when you start getting into more advanced skills and get more body positioning. Well, it's like, well, why do I have to learn an advanced skill for body positioning if I could just counter steer and all that stuff? It's because you're going too fast. If you're going too fast, you have to do something to make up that failure. So you have to make up that failure with a better skill than just counter steering. So if you just don't go so fast, you don't have to worry about body positioning. You don't have to worry about getting deep down in there. You could just do normal counter steering. So my recommendation for all these things is literally just to take it nice and easy so you don't need those advanced skills. But If you want to go faster, hey, that's perfectly fine. It's not my life. It's not my situation. If you want to, here's the thing. Take an advanced skill so you stay safe. That's all I care about is if you guys stay safe, but realize where you're at in terms of your skill level, risk, everything. I want you to be aware of that stuff. Go ahead and take a look at this video. So I don't think there's any audio. All right. Big area. You said you got pushed out into the second lane. Oh, hit a couple bumps and it threw me off and it didn't concentrate. Okay. So a couple bumps. You hit a couple bumps. There's the bump. So in the middle of a turn, couple bumps. And it kind of threw you off and you got close to that. Now here's the thing. You did really well. Did absolutely well. So one thing that you can realize, and this is something that happened to me in Phoenix. We're on a bridge. So the bridges will indicate there's that transition from pavement to the bridge and there's that bump that usually happens there. So in Phoenix, we have these big interchanges and there's always like the concrete slab bumps and it's usually in a turn. So one time I hit a bump and I was in the middle of a turn and got launched and I was like over here. Very scary. So be aware of that. Try to go over the bumps as easy as possible. Lift that butt up if you can. It's the same thing with the bumps in the road and accidentally give it a little bit too much throttle. So same thing, lift that butt up. So that's going to make it to where a lot of that forces that rear tire hit, it's going to go into your legs, not your back, which will push your handlebars. So lift your butt up a little bit, kind of lean into it, but you did a good job. There's not much, honestly, there's not much that you could have done differently. As a returning biker, I get light cramps in my wrists, inner thighs, and lower back after riding. Is it normal? Quite possibly. I get that too, and it's flexibility. Your flexibility is not as good. I get that because my flexibility is not as good. So the inner thighs, those are your hip flexors. So you have that tendon that goes all the way down, and lower back, same thing. Your lower back is a little tight. So your erector spinae, the big muscles that go to the top of your neck, basically down to your spine, all the way to your coccyx, which is your tailbone. Those are probably really tight. So good flexibility. The inner thighs, same thing. So you probably have really strong legs. I think that might be your problem. So you have a really strong legs and weak core. And then the cramps in the wrists, that could be from gripping the throttle a little bit too hard. I know I used to get that all the time. And what I would do is actually strengthen your core, not necessarily stretch. So do some more planks. That might help you out with your inner thigh and lower back. Guys, I wanted to have a nice class. We're going to be doing this Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So this weekend, tomorrow, while everybody's watching football, or even today, I'm going to be going over what the curriculum is. I can't wait to do it, but we're going to be having them more often. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm thinking around 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm going to be consistent with it. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, you'll see last week's videos pop up those days. Send me your parking lot practice, because at the beginning, so take a look at this. So at the beginning, we were having this going on, okay? That chat's dead right there. We were having this go on, and if you want your stuff to be put in the beginning, if you want your parking lot practice to be part of the intro, send it to me. So go ahead and upload it to your own channel, and just, whatever practice you're doing, U-turns, figure eights, this stuff right here. This right here, we're practicing U-turns, but you can also turn that into a figure eight. We were doing that, having a great time, and I want to showcase some of your guys' training. So if you're going to go out and you're going to practice this right here, go ahead, practice it, put a camera up, upload it to YouTube, send me the link through the submission form, and we will put that during the intro of the training. We definitely will. So I want to see your guys' training. I want to see what you guys are doing. I want you guys to have a great time doing it, but I want to make sure that you get the recognition for all the hard work you guys are doing too. Remember, guys, this is the DDFM crew. This is the crew. Okay. Yeah, Dave Moss has great stuff. This is a DDFM crew. We're a community of people that want to make sure everyone here is safe. And this is amazing. I think this is a great step. We got a class going. Yeah, Scarlett, same here. Body's still in morning mode. Maybe mornings aren't the best for me. I think 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time would be better for me. So I'm drinking my coffee. Whew. I want to say thank you to Speed Limit, man. You need to stop donating. You're constantly donating. Thank you so much, though. I do appreciate it. Guys, if you would like to become a member, please do so. Click that join button. make sure you join the Discord. So this is the crew lounge right here. So only crew members get access to this. Let's see. Let's do the Carlton. Yeah. Join the Discord. Nectar, how you doing? The razor, I use Dollar Shave Club razors. I need a sponsorship from Dollar Shave Club. Speed limit. You're insane.